Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed the climb, and I actually wanted to get the climb and cruise in one portion in the cinematic portion of this in this video, but I realized that the cruise is so small, might as well bunch them both together. So as you can see, we're at 35,000 feet, which is our cruising altitude. We're slowly approaching CCS, actually quite hastily approaching CCS, and after that, we pretty much have to begin our descent. So at Elvar, we're aiming to be at around... Actually, the descent starts after Elvar, but at Idbid and Aguvo, we're supposed to be at around 14,000 feet. 24,000 feet. So it's going to be a pretty fast descent if we start the descent after Elvar. So we're going to start it right after about CCS, and we're going to start descending to at an adept pace. At a decent rate of descent down to Aguvo, and after that we're going to continue our arrival. So during the climb procedure, I had a little bit of time to see what the bugs are in terms of the lightning, and that apparently is a bug. So if you go to the forums for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, there's an issues and bugs page, and one of the prime bugs at the moment is the lightning bug. So if you have live weather set under Microsoft Flight Simulator, it will always give you some sort of lightning or thunder happening, even if you have no clouds or no rain. So that's surprising, but hopefully that will get sorted in future patches and updates. But shouldn't really cause us any harm, because apparently it's just a visual bug. It doesn't really do anything to the aircraft. There's no like wind gusts or something like that happen because of it. It's just the thunder and lightning is annoying every time you're flying in clear weather. So yeah, it's we're soaring above the clouds at the moment, but as nobody ever said, what goes up must come down. So let's start planning for our descent. So I've already pulled up the charts for our arrival. So we're going to be taking the Idbid 7 Bravo arrival, as mentioned before. We're going to be coming through Idbid and then towards Aguvo. And after Aguvo, we're going to go all the way to Upcat. And after Upcat, we have runway 21 arrival. We're going to be doing an ILS approach into Lisbon, Portugal, and we're supposed to be at around 4,000 feet when we're intercepting Upcat for our glide slope capture, after which we have I think it's a 3-degree descent down to runway 21 at Lima Papa Tango. So airport charts signify that 21's going to be here, so we're going to be coming in, and the real aircraft parked at Terminal 1. So we're going to be coming in, vacating Hotel Sierra probably, or maybe Papa, so we can go auto brake low, considering the length of the runway is more than enough. So we have 3,705 meter runway, so we can go auto brake low, and we can vacate here, then probably take one of these Foxtrot Golf 2 taxiways, cross runway 17/35, and then just park anywhere here at Terminal 1. So that's going to be the plan for our arrival, our descent, and all of that stuff. I'm going to dial the range back here, see how close we are to Elvar. So as soon as we sort of pass CCS, we can go ahead and start descending. So let's go ahead and program the descent in the mode control panel here. Or not the mode control panel, the multi-control display unit, or MCDU. So let's go to perf, and let's go to the approach phase. There we go. And we're going to need some METAR information. So let's go online, and instead of Madrid METAR, let's go Lima Papa Tango METAR. And that should give us the METAR information. 1020 is the QNH. So let's enter that in here. The temperature is going to be 14 degrees, so not too cold, not too warm, just a light sunrise breeze happening. We have wind coming from 300 degrees and at a speed of 5 knots, so that is okay. Transition altitude we can enter in a second. Decision height we can enter because we have it from the charts. Transition altitude is also here, so we can enter 4,000, and the decision height is going to be, where can we find it? 547 feet 200. So we can enter 547 in the MDA and 200 in the decision height. So I don't know if this is accurate, if this is how you're supposed to enter the descent altitude information. So if there's any Airbus pilots in the comment section, please do let me know if that's how you do it. But I would love to know your opinion. We can also go ahead and enter the transition altitude here. So 4,000 can be entered right in there. And yeah, we're pretty much ready for descent. as soon as we pass CCS. We're gonna keep going straight and hopefully have a smooth descent into Lisbon. So another thing that I've been looking at when watching some videos of other YouTubers flying the A320 NX mod is that if you set the descent profile and allow the aircraft to do a managed descent using the altitude constraints program into the MCDU, it's not really going to do it, because apparently whatever altitude you set here, and if you just push the button in, it's practically going to descend at the same rate, and it's going to get you down to that altitude as quickly as possible. So that's not something we want. We want to descend at a sedate pace. So what we're going to do is we're going to arm vertical speed mode and control our descent throughout until we establish ourselves on the localizer and glide slope, after which we'll get the approach mode armed, and then we can basically perform the ILS landing into runway 21 at Lisbon. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. It's going to be basically going to be my first landing in this simulator. The first time I flew the normal A320, it wasn't a good landing. I really didn't know what I was doing. My controller mappings were kind of weird. I didn't have reverse thrust armed, so it was weird, but hopefully I have all that ironed out now. I've watched a few videos on YouTube. Honestly, YouTube is amazing. You should really watch YouTube. And if you guys watch YouTube, another thing you should do is always subscribe to my channel, like my videos, because they're amazing. Let's face it. But seriously, if you guys really want an in-depth understanding of the Boeing 737, if you guys fly the PMDG 737 in Prepared or FSX, or if you guys fly the Zibo mod, I highly recommend you guys check out my Aircraft Dissected series. It's the top link in the description below. I literally take a look at every single panel, switch, button, and explain its function, and we also do a full flight using real-world procedures to be able to give you guys a flavor of how you can start up the aircraft from a cold and dark state, taxi it to the runway, take off, then do a climb and cruise procedure, eventually understand how to program the descend down, land on the runway, and then also taxi back to the gate and shut down the aircraft. So all of that stuff is included in that, and I highly recommend you guys check that out. The next iteration of that series covering this mighty aircraft, the A320, will be coming out very, very shortly. I'm still working on the script. It takes a lot of time for me to script that content. So, oh wow, we're undergoing some turbulence. Let's get the seatbelt signs on. Get the passengers to sit down, because we don't want them flailing about. And neither do we want the cabin crew flailing about with their coffee carts in the galleys. It's not going to be very pleasant. And as soon as we turned on the seatbelt signs, I guess the turbulence went away. It's fine. We can keep the seatbelt signs on. We're going to start the descent now anyway. We want the passengers sitting down for that. So, passing CCS. And we're still about 80 nautical miles away from 8-bit, so we can actually hold off on starting the descent for a while longer. Maybe when we start getting towards Elvar, we can go ahead and start the descent down to 24,000 feet. We can, however, go ahead and set the auto brake setting to low, because we're not going to need medium auto brake for almost a 3-kilometer long runway. We're going to be pretty much fine with auto brake low. Taking a mild left turn here to be able to intercept the next waypoint on our route, which is, of course, Elvar. Look at that. Looks absolutely fantastic. The sunrise happening in the distance over there. I've really tried to fix those the sort of grainy textures on the clouds, and the only solution I've found so far that works remotely well is to be able to dial up the film grain setting to 100% in NVIDIA Control Panel. So if you go to image sharpening in NVIDIA Control Panel, you can go ahead and turn that, turn the image sharpening down to 0 if you want, but I have it set to 50% because I like my textures to look a little bit sharp, considering I can't ramp up the render scaling in the game because that will sort of eat up my FPS. So I have texture image sharpening turned on in NVIDIA Control Panel to 50%, and I have the ignore film grain setting set to 100%. So if I set the image grain to less than 100%, it's even worse than what you're seeing right now. So this is the best I can do on a 1080p screen. Hopefully they fix that sometime in the future, but I don't know. From what I've seen on the forums and stuff, it looks like that's a limitation of drawing volumetric clouds itself. So nothing Asobo Studio can do there. Maybe we just need to wait for better GPUs and CPUs in the future The future of computing does look bright, so let's see if we can actually truly draw volumetric clouds without having to witness that. It looks much better on 1440p screens or 4K screens, but that's an inherent limitation of a 1080p screen. You can see there it's trying to super sample those images in the distance. That's okay. We're going to be focusing on the cockpit anyway. So yeah, there's nothing much to say here. I'll let you guys enjoy the next 15 to 20 nautical miles of cruising as well. So I'll see you then. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we're approaching Elvar very quickly, so we're about 10 nautical miles away from that, and I'm going to go ahead and start the descent here. So we're going to descend down to 24,000 feet, as the SimBrief flight plan tells us that we're supposed to be at Aguvo at 24,400 feet, so 24,000 feet seems good. Let's go ahead and enable descent, and we'll take the vertical speed mode. And we'll control the descent at around 1,500 feet per minute. Sounds good. And there we go. The descent has commenced. Nope, it hasn't. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's trying to slow down. It's probably trying to do something. Hopefully it starts. Yeah, the clock is ticking downward there. Oh, no, it's gone. Let's get 1,500 feet per minute descent started here. Hopefully it works. There we go, 1,500 feet per minute. And we've started the descent. You can see the altitude ticking back on the primary flight display there. We should be coming up on the right turn momentarily here as well, so let's dial the range back to 40 nautical miles here. And the right turn towards Elvar should be coming relatively soon. And we're just going to go ahead and watch that. There we go. Smooth left turn. Let's look at it from the wing view perspective. There we go. Beautiful. And the lightning is still happening. Nothing we can do about that. Another thing that you don't really notice in other simulators, you don't really think you need it until you actually do see it in action, is the cloud rendering distance as well as the hazing. It's absolutely beautiful when you see that the clouds can extend to that range. Even though I can't see some of the clouds in the horizon, I know that there's some haze and lack of visibility there, so it looks very realistic. So yeah, another beautiful addition to the sim, all I can say. The livery job is also done very well. Apart from a few low-resolution textures on the actual logo, all of this stuff that's added looks good. Host point, no grab, no step. All of that looks very realistic. Okay, descending. I don't know why the vertical speed has stopped again. I guess it stops every time we make a turn. So, yeah, I'm gonna try and stay in the cockpit, not look around too much, because there still might be some bugs in this aircraft that need to be ironed out. In fact, we can go for a 2,000 feet per minute rate of descent here. There we go. We have about 35 nautical miles to to get ourselves down to 24,000 feet. And apparently we've slowed down to 240 knots here as well. I don't know why that's happened. So let's go ahead and also go ahead and control manage speed. At least get it to about 260 knots. That's going to speed up the rate of descent too, I'm pretty sure. No, it doesn't. So yeah, there's some autopilot stuff that needs to be figured out. I guess the fly-by-wire team have to write a separate code for this aircraft, because the one that's been written by Asobo is not the brightest. It sort of compartmentalizes the different actions it needs to perform. So if it needs to speed up, it doesn't realize that it can just pitch up and speed up. It kind of thrusts forward and then it kind of pitches up. It's really weird. It's very compartmentalized. It's not very smooth. And that's one of the biggest perks of flying an Airbus aircraft, is the fly-by-wire that's within these aircraft that allow it to do it so smoothly without any human input. So in order to simulate that, either we need to wait for some professional A320 add-ons, paid add-ons, from companies like Aerosoft and FS Labs, or we need to basically wait for some changes to be made by the dev team here. Okay, so we're descending a little bit fast here, so I'm just going to slow us down to about 1,000 feet per minute. That should do us just fine. So let's actually go ahead and dial the lower altitude down now. 12,000 feet. Let's also slow us down from 280 to around 260. Maybe 270 is fine. And we might need to increase our rate of descent a little bit more here. Oh, 1,300, maybe 1,500 feet. Oh, the vertical speed has been taken over here. Look at that. The aircraft automatically decided it needs to descend at a rate of 2,600 feet per minute, which is odd. I mean, I never told it to do that, so I don't know why that's happening. Bugs galore. We're flying with a sort of a left attitude here, as you can see. Now we're starting to level out a little bit. I guess it's trying to compensate for the crosswind we're getting. But the speeds of the wind are getting slower as we descend down, closer to the ground. These high altitude winds can really, really knock you about as an aircraft. So it's really important to keep in mind when you have high altitude winds. 60 knots is fine, but I've seen cases where there's like 100 knots. That's crazy. That's actually insane. And it's taken over vertical speed again. I don't know why it does that. I seriously don't. Maybe it's something to do with the aircraft turning. Again, with a compartmentalization within the aircraft, I think the aircraft thinks that when it turns, it's just automatically supposed to cancel the descent information I've inputted into the mode control panel, and it just takes over. That's alright. So let's actually go to plan mode and see what the plan is for our arrival. So let's go to flight plan, and after Aguvo, we're going to decelerate, then Renor, Papa Tango 410, PT 411, upcat, where we're supposed to be at 4,000 feet, and after that, basically, we capture the localizer. So basically, after 12,000 feet, I'm basically going to dial our altitude down to 4,000 so we can capture the localizer and glide slope for our arrival into Lisbon. So yeah, that looks good. Let's set 40 nautical miles here again. Let's see if we need to do anything on the overhead panel. We can get rid of some of these lights. It's practically sunrise, so let's get rid of that, and let's also get rid of this. We don't need it. Spoilers, I'm not going to arm as of yet. We're going to keep it on for a while. And again, our speed is starting to crawl up a little bit, so I'm going to slow us down to 250 knots. Maybe that'll keep us at a decent rate. And actually also speed up our descent here. We need to get to 4,000 feet by that waypoint, which is around, I think, about 40 nautical miles away. So 40 nautical miles, get down to 4,000 feet. It's manageable. We can do it. We have a few turns and stuff that's going to help us out as well. All right. 17,000 feet. Let's slow us down further here. Let's see if we can get speed. There we go. Let's get us down to 250 knots. And let's speed up our descent as well. I'm also going to use the lever of shame. Oh, there we go. Let's get half spoilers deployed so we can slow us down further. Actually, yeah, we don't really need to use it for too much longer. 15,900 feet. Coming in nice and easy. Hopefully the speed doesn't start trickling back up. And we're about 15,600 feet. In about 10 nautical miles, we're supposed to be at 12,000, so that's fine. Our current rate of descent is adequate. We can in fact begin to slow us down to around 240 knots as of now, because there's not a lot of time after we pass 10,000 feet that we're going to get to that glide slope capture point, and we're going to start descending to the runway. It's a very straightforward arrival, so there's not a lot of holding patterns and stuff happening. Not holding patterns, but just general circling patterns before we get to the runway. Okay, so it's really trying. Maybe if I press this, yeah, okay, so I think it was trying to level out at 12,000 feet. That was the problem. Let's continue our descent. There we go. There's that left turn. Let's watch that. Beautiful. Look at those rice paddy fields down there. Beautiful Portugal. One of my favorite footballers are from here, so I love Cristiano Ronaldo. I love Nani. Supremely athletic players. And we still have lightning, so the lightning effect hasn't even spared Portugal here. There we go. These are the insides of the aircraft, by the way, and if you really want to know how I did these wing views, I can make a video on that later, so let me know if you guys want to see how I did these wing views. It's really simple. It requires a little bit of text editing, but for the most part, it's super simple. So we can sort that out later. All right, getting to about 10,000 feet, we can go ahead and get the runway lights on. We can get the wing light on as well, and we can ding the cabin once. We can slow ourselves down further to 230 knots. And I guess there's another announcement there to ask the cabin crew to take their seats for landing as well. So 230 knots, slowing ourselves down further. We might need the lever of shame again, guys. And also we might... Oh yeah, see, vertical descent, again, is acting weird. So let's get 2,200 feet per minute should be okay. Let's also get the landing system armed. And yeah, there we go. We're about 25 nautical miles away from the ILS beacon. Coming in nice and easy. Let's get this down all the way to 220 knots. Take the lever of shame back. In fact, go ahead and arm it as we speak. And our descent is perfectly fine. I'm going to try to spot the runway. I think that might be the runway right there. Yeah, I think I see some faint runway lights in the distance over there. Not a lot of clouds, clear day. Getting a few spikes in performance here, so I'm sure this is under 30 frames per second at the moment. Oh no, 46 frames per second. I guess my perception of smoothness has gone down quite a bit. 7,400, yeah, we might need a little bit more of the descent here, so 2,200 feet. Again, the aircraft just took out the vertical speed. I don't know why it does that. I seriously don't. We have rock hub, and after that rock hub straight down to our runway. Again, it's taken out the descent. Don't know what's happening. Please, I need a good rate of descent here, game. Or sim, I should say. Please descend. Okay, it's just not descending. So open descent. Thank you. Please descend, guys. Thank you. Okay, so that was just a bug. I guess now we're gonna do a straight dive descent kind of thing. Let's get our speed down to 190 knots, because I really don't find it comfortable to fly with an aircraft that's broken. Why? Just maintain the rate of descent, fam. 2,000 feet per minute, please. Please. Not climb, but descend. Please, for the love of God, just descend. At this point, I'm just praying. Thank you. It's now descending. Let's take flap 1. Maybe that'll help it out. There we go. Please, 4,000 feet. That's all I need. Game, sim, whatever. Please don't kill me in the comments for calling this a sim. Or, sorry, a game. There we go. 5 nautical miles away, and we're way... Oh my god. It just keeps canceling the vertical speed. Can't really do anything about it. And now we're nosediving down at about 5 degrees. So, yeah, definitely some fixes need to be made. I'm going to go ahead and arm the approach mode here. To capture the glide slope and keep the glide slope. But I really don't want to do that. I want to simulate this properly. So 2,100 feet. Maintain it, maintain it, maintain it. We're doing fine at the moment. 1,800 feet can be maintained. We're doing good. It's alright. Just don't cancel my vertical speed, please, sim. I really want to maintain this vertical speed. Maybe a little bit more as well. 2,500 feet per minute. There we go. We took flap 1, right? Yeah, we took flap 1. We'll also go ahead and arm the runway turnoff lights and the taxi lights. I don't want any shenanigans in the last minute. 4,700 feet. 4,600 feet. I guess it's using that glide slope as a reference, and it's just canceling my vertical speed because of that. Okay, now we can actually start dipping it out normal. Okay, so we have the localizer active and the approach active, so I'm just going to go ahead and arm the approach. And it's going to capture the localizer. And there goes my worries of maintaining altitude. Now it should just use the localizer and glide slope as a reference. Yeah, it is. It's doing good there. We'll go ahead and reduce our speed to 180 knots. Take flap 2. And our final approach speed, just to cross-check this once, is going to be 146 knots. And our final approach speed is going to be 141 knots. It's going to be the landing speed. So we're going to set 7,000 feet in here as our missed approach altitude. And now we're practically just going to focus on the runway, which is right in front of us. Runway 21. See the passenger view. There we go. We have some foliage there. The FPS still seems very smooth. A few buildings down there. Sparse scenery. Oh, we have windmills. That looks good. Never really seen that in the sim. Then again, I haven't really flown to a lot of places in the sim. 2,500 feet. Alright, so sterile cockpit. Let's only focus on the important stuff. Slow us down to 170 knots.
2,500.
Let's take flap 3 gear down. Just for the thumbnail. Right, continue slowing down. 160 knots. We're doing great. 7.7 nautical miles away. And let's slow us down to 155 knots. Also take flap full. Spoilers are armed. Terrain radar is active, weather, we don't really have any returns. Landing lights, everything's on. Seatbelt signs are on. And we're ready for landing. I'm going to let the aircraft lie down a little bit further because I don't trust the flight dynamics to be able to land this from this altitude. I might do that at a later date, but at the moment I'm going to let the aircraft bring it down a little bit further. It's doing a good job at the moment, so yep, that's nice. So 150 knots, continue slowing ourselves down. And hopefully the approach phase is armed. Yeah, it's armed. So we can go ahead and give the control to autopilot. There we go. It can slow us down all the way down to 141 knots. Or 141 knots. And it does this weird thing where it's now pitching up to 5 degrees. Hopefully it starts pitching down again. Looks great. The sun glistening in the water. What's the other side? We have some industrial complexes here, a few buildings in the distance, cars going and spontaneously disappearing, a few chapels, cathedrals, a few cars over there, some freeway. Looks beautiful. Okay, so now, let's start focusing on the... Where is the runway? Why are we pitched high so much? That's alright, okay. We'll take care of this. What's our altitude? 1,000 feet. Let's get a little bit closer before disengaging autopilot. I still don't understand the high pitch at the moment. I don't know what that's all about. It should be at around 0 degrees, and we should be pitching it to 5 degrees for the flare. So this is going to be a very weird approach. Okay, so now it's... the glide slope is kind of going down, so we need to go and capture it here. So I'm going to go and disconnect the autopilot, my aircraft. Okay, so glide slope is kind of going up, so we need to pitch... I'm literally pitching to 7.5 degrees, so this is something that definitely needs to be fixed. But we still have 2 reds and 2 whites in the PAPI, so we're doing good. And we're actually kind of getting high. Let's compensate for that. There we go. 400 feet. Kind of drifting to the right here, so let's compensate. Trying to get the center line here. Don't want to descend too fast. 200 feet. Kind of still high here, so... 100, 50 when we pass the threshold.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Let's retard the thrust levers. It's going to be kind of a late landing. Okay. Let's maintain the center line. Reverse thrust armed. Idle reverse. And there's 80 knots. Reversers can come out. And brakes can come out as well. Okay. A bit of a bumpy landing. A little bit of wind. Kind of came in a little bit high, but it's alright for our first time landing. We can vacate right here, so let's slow ourselves down. Break it down to about 30 knots, and let's vacate. Beautiful. So the runway turnoffs can come on. Landing lights can come off. Taxi. Wing. Let's vacate. Let's get the flight directors off. Landing system can go off on this side. Auto throttle can go off. Localizer can go off. We can get the weather radar off. Predicted wind shear can come off. We can take the TCAS to standby there. And oh, we forgot to switch from standard to local altimeter. Again, another thing that I forgot to do. It's alright. This is what happens when you don't use checklists, I guess. Alright, so what's the plan from here? Let's go to the charts and see where we need to go. Okay, so take a left here. And apparently there's something in our way, so let's take a left here. And Terminal 1 should be over there somewhere, so we're going to go park there. Do we have anything else to turn off? We can go ahead and turn off the ND, and we can also start up the APU here, so... there we go. Give it a little bit more thrust. Forgot how power hungry this aircraft is. There we go. And let's retract the flaps as well. I think the spoilers get auto-retracted. So flaps can come up. There we go. Beautiful sunrise approach into Lisbon, Portugal. I don't know about you guys, but apart from the few bugs we encountered, the approach itself was pretty beautiful. Plus, I guess the lightning is gone because there aren't a lot of clouds here. A few funny liveries on the ground. We have an Air India A320 Neo. Beautiful livery and all. I mean, home country represent, but still, I wouldn't expect to find an A320 Neo Air India in Lisbon, of all places. Let's go ahead and turn off the constraints. The airport flight directors can come off, and we can also start up the APU because the flap is, I'm pretty sure, on. And what's the plan from here? So here, we're going to go take a left, then cross runway 17 at Gulf 1. So right here, and then we can go park at any of those gates right there. So that's the plan. We can turn on, yeah, the strobe light can stay on because we're about to cross the runway anyway. There we go. We have traffic turned on in the sim at the moment because it eats up FPS. I don't know if that's going to be fixed anytime soon, but at the moment I'd like to have smoother performance. I'm okay with some static ground traffic. Don't really need any sort of actual ground traffic. There we go. Let's go ahead and turn off the strobe lights, and also the taxi light can come off as well, so in order to not blind the marshalers. We can take this gate over here, the one that's closest to us. This should be Terminal 1. And taxi light is off. APU is still coming on. Oh, where's the APU? There it is. So yeah, 87% of the APU. I don't know if this stand is operational, but we can kind of pull in and see if there's anything we can do here. So let's take a left turn. I think I overshot that a little bit, a tad bit. Yeah, I did. 100% overshot that a little bit. Oh, no, no, no. Don't give it too much thrust. Let's try to compensate from the outside view. There we go. Now we're okay. There we go. We're stopped. APU bleed can come on. And there we go. APU is running. Engine's off. Seatbelt signs can come off. And let's make sure that the N2 is below. There we go. N2 is below 25%. Let's also get the beacon light off so the ground personnel can approach us. Let's get the fuel pumps all off. There we go. TCAS can now come to standby. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was our flight all the way from Madrid. A beautiful sunrise departure out of Madrid, a very rainy Madrid, all the way down here to Lisbon in Portugal. It was a beautiful arrival. Encountered a few bugs en route. Had a few problems with the descent and the autopilot system, which made the landing not, well, as ideal as I would like it to be. But at the same time, it was a beautiful flavor and a splendid introduction to the sim. I'd like to do more flights like this. If you guys enjoyed the commentary, if you guys enjoyed the content you guys are watching here, make sure to leave a like on this video. Maybe share the video around to some of the Microsoft Flight Simulator forums, not only to sort of showcase the channel, but also to address a few of the issues that have been floating around, because the more these issues come into the limelight, the more they're going to get addressed by the developers. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to subscribe. Also hit the bell icon for future notifications from this channel, especially the Aircraft Dissected series, which is going to be coming very, very soon. And thanks for flying by.